afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Today we have ourselves quite the show, as we have a lot to get to in the world of Southern California sports, such as the Lakers and Clippers are both in the NBA playoffs. The Lakers wound up wrangling up the 3 seed and the Pacific Division title, while the Clippers wrangled up the 5 seed. Can they get out of the first round, and will they be able to go deep? Also, the NFL draft is this week, as the Chargers and Rams are pretty much on the clock in about 6 more days. What are their draft needs, and who do you think they will draft? Also, the LA Kings are in the playoffs, but we can't say the same for the Ducks. But the Kings did draw someone that they shouldn't have drawn, the Edmonton Oilers. Can the Kings rewrite some new history, or will history repeat itself? Also, LAFC wound up winning as they held off San Jose, and the Galaxy, despite being a man short, was able to tie against Houston. Unfortunately for San Diego FC, it just wasn't meant to be. Same with Wave FC, but Angel City was able to pick up a win over Houston. Also, the MLB, the Angels have come crashing down. Or is that the case? They did have a pretty bad week, if you ask me. The Dodgers were pretty solid after bouncing back against the Cubs, and the Padres have been on a tear as of late. All that more here on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on iSports Radio, your feed for all that is sports. And welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Friday afternoon, Friday morning, Friday wherever you are listening from. Either way, you've made your way in episode 225 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And without any further delay, let us begin. But first and foremost, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show would not be where it's at without IE Sports Radio, providing the platform to go live on StreamYard and on Twitch as well. Please do follow IE Sports Radio on several different social media platforms such as X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Also, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate it. We are nearing 400 subscribers. With your help, we could surpass 400 subscribers and be on the road to 500 subscribers. We would greatly appreciate your help if you were to do that. So please do subscribe to us on YouTube. It would definitely mean a lot. Also, check us out on other podcast platforms such as Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, GeoSavin, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, the list goes on and on. Also, make sure to check us out on our website, iesportsradio.com, for all of your latest sports news, our blog, which I'll be contributing to this weekend, our page dedicated to each podcast, such as the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, our merchandise shop where you can cop t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and so much more. Also, make sure to check out our Hall of Fame, where yours truly is Hall of Fame inductee number 10. And also make sure to check out our Fans of the Month and so much more. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports states around the country. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. Huge shout out to our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, Vital Apparel, and Raw Nutrition Supplements. So without any further delay, let's get on in to what our sponsors and IE Sports Radio is all about.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm. single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
That's right, everybody. Definitely check out all of our amazing sponsors, especially our most recent sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com. Use the promo code IESR in all capital letters for 10% off your next purchase. So we greatly appreciate all those sponsors for being the official sponsors of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. And the way you can follow the SoCal Supreme Sports Show on social media is on X, formerly known as Twitter, at SoCal Show IESR. And you can follow me, the host, personally on X, formerly known as Twitter as well, at Teran Rodriguez 1. Also, make sure to check out the supporters link in the description of the show and right here. It's only $5 a month to be a member of the Supporters Club. And if you do become a member, first and foremost, thank you from the bottom of my heart. But you'll get a shout out from me on every show the rest of the way going forward, as long as you are still a member of the Supporters Club, or if you're ever a member of the Supporters Club. And if you're a member of the Supporters Club for the next 4 months, I'll ship you an IE Sports Radio t-shirt or tank top, whatever of your choosing. And also you'll get the chance to be a part of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where we can talk anything of your topic, what that's within the Southern California sports realm. And if you become a member of the Supporters Club from now and beyond, then who knows? Maybe I might even I might spice things up for you and make it even more worth it. So definitely become a member of the Supporters Club. It really would mean a lot to me and IE Sports Radio. It would mean so much. But here's the link. The link is also in the description. All right, now let's get on into the SoCal sports action. So we have a lot to cover, so I'm going to try not to be too long with these, but let's discuss a little bit of some Lakers and Clippers. So Lakers and the Clippers, they both managed to make the playoffs. The Lakers punched their ticket in last Friday when they took down the Houston Rockets, which I thought that was going to be a little bit tougher of a matchup for the Lakers, just because the Rockets are playing some darn good basketball. But I thought the Lakers had a good shot. They just recently beat them not too long ago. But in that game, it was actually a little bit more low scoring. It seemed like old school NBA before three-pointers became a thing. But in this game against the Rockets, with the final home game of the regular season for the Lakers wound up stomping all over the Rockets, 140-109. That's quite the improvement over the previous meeting, where the Lakers didn't win by too much, and they only put up 104 points, and it was still enough to win. But yeah, Lakers, the second quarter was the big story, as the Lakers just really bombarded the Clippers in that quarter, scoring a whopping 40 points and outscoring them by 16. And eventually they led by 22 at halftime. And even when the Rockets tried to take their best shot, the Lakers had an answer for them. And it seemed like this was a whole different Lakers team, which I thought was pretty nice, if you ask me. It's a great change of pace for the Lakers to be playing at a high level, and there's no fear of, the Lakers took the foot off the gas and there could be the possibility of the Lakers whiffing this lead. No, that wasn't the case. The Lakers knew they could ill afford to lose to the Rockets and have their last game of the season be all or nothing. So leading the Lakers in the win was Luka Doncic, who had 39 points. He had 8 boards and 7 assists, which I thought was pretty darn good, if you ask me. I mean, Luka is going to be an integral part of the Lakers if they want to have a deep postseason run and if they want to win the championship. Austin Reeves also chipped in 23 points, 7 boards, and 6 assists. LeBron James had 14 points and 8 assists. Rui Hachimura had 16 points and 5 boards. That's the other thing about Rui Hachimura. He is going to be so big for the Lakers. I mean, when the Lakers don't have him, it just feels like they're not the team that they're supposed to be. But with Rui Hachimura, he's an unsung hero. Like, he doesn't get the praise like Reeves does, Doncic does, or LeBron does. But I think he does. He definitely provides a lot of perimeter depth offensively for the Lakers. And Dorian Finney-Smith came in off the bench and had 18 points, which I thought was pretty good as well. He also had 3 steals. So it's going to take an entire village for the Lakers to win the whole Larry O'Brien trophy. If they can stay healthy and stay consistent and stay disciplined, then the Lakers have it made. But it's going to be one tough ride because the Lakers are in the Western Conference and the West is so deep. So I think this is going to be a tough playoff run for the Lakers, but it's going to be a rewarding one if they manage to win the whole shebang. And also they played the Portland Trailblazers on Sunday, but honestly, the Lakers just need to rest all their starters, as they lost 109-81, but who cares? It's like all the stars didn't need to be played. It was a game where the Lakers couldn't move up further than 3, but they couldn't move below 3. So just have the young guns just run the team. They had Dalton Connect leading the way with 27 points. They had Shake Milton also chipping in 16 points as well. Jordan Goodwin chipped in 12 points off the bench. Markieff Morris also added 11 points for the Lakers. So, yeah, that game was a throwaway. Just rest the starters and just prepare yourselves for the playoffs. You don't need any of your key players getting hurt, so you have that. So the Lakers did draw the Minnesota Timberwolves. So they started the regular season with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And now they start the postseason with the Minnesota Timberwolves, which I think is pretty funny if you ask me. But we'll talk about the matchups a little bit later. But let's go over a little bit of Clippers action. So the Clippers, they managed to follow suit with the Lakers, and they managed to punch their ticket to the playoffs. Now, their path was a little bit tricky. They were kind of in the path of the Warriors, the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, all that sort of thing. And against the Kings, they need to grind that one out. They actually only wound up winning by 101 to 100. So it was one of those grinded out games, but James Harden was able to come up big, as well as Kawhi Leonard. He had 28 points, which I thought was big right there. And this game was a nail biter. It was actually a 1-point game for the Clippers at halftime. They eventually led by 5 going into the final frame. To the credit to the Kings, they needed all the momentum they can get. They weren't going to move up into the playoff standings, but they weren't going to move out of the play-in standings. But thankfully for the Clippers, they shot over 50% from the field, which I thought was huge right there. I think the Clippers are definitely playing some great basketball as of late. They also got 23 points from James Harden, who had a triple-double with 11 boards and 10 assists. Ivica Zubac had 17 points and 11 boards. He also had Norman Powell with 16 points. They also got 11 points off the bench from Derek Jones Jr. So I think for the Clippers, this great basketball play is just absolutely amazing. Now, their final regular season matchup was against the Golden State Warriors. And this was going to be their true test because the Warriors were playing great basketball. So were the Clippers. But something was going to have to give. If the Warriors were to win, then the Clippers would be in the play-in. The Warriors would get the 6th seed with everything all said and done. And with that being said, that would have been bad for the Lakers just because I don't think the Lakers can match up well against Golden State. But if the Clippers were to win, then the Clippers would get the 5 seed. The Warriors would be in the play-in. And then we would all laugh at Golden State because why not? We're SoCal. But the Clippers did manage to pull off a win. They managed to eke out a win on the road in overtime, 124 to 119. And I figured that this being the last game of the regular season that was still going on, I figured this would be the most fitting game to end the regular season. And it was a darn good game. Every start for the Clippers was in double digits. James Harden turned the clock back to his prime James Harden self. He had 39 points, and he had almost all the points in overtime. He had 12 points in overtime, and the Clippers as a whole scored 13 in that overtime period. The only other point came from Kawhi Leonard, who finished up with 33 points, 7 assists, and 6 boards. They also got 22 points from Ivica Zubac, as well as 17 boards from him. Norman Powell and Chris Dunn both had 11 points. So it was a very, very fun game. And obviously, it wasn't a Golden State Warriors game without Steph Curry obviously having a bombardment of 3-pointers. He had 7 3-pointers and 36 points altogether. Jimmy Butler had 30 points. Brendan Pajemski had 19 points. Draymond Green added 14 points. As a whole, the Warriors made 15 3-pointers, while the Clippers managed to fire back and make 14. So pretty good if you ask me. And surprisingly, this is probably going to irk Golden State Warriors fans. Warriors missed 5 free throws, and the Warriors wound up losing by 5. But you could also make the case for the Clippers that the Clippers also missed 4 free throws. So something has to give when it comes to these free throws and whatnot. So the big thing that the Clippers did an amazing job of is they out-rebounded the living daylight out of the Warriors. They out-rebounded them 42 to 25. That just goes to show that the Clippers love to play small ball and perimeter ball. And the Clippers exploited that mismatch as they had Ivica Zubac cleaning the glass, Kawhi Leonard with those big hands. He was able to become board man and get the Clippers the win. So I thought it was a great win by the Clippers. And don't look now, but the Clippers have won 8 straight games. And they're taking on a Denver team. Now, I said last week, I obviously clowned Denver, that Denver wound up, firing their head coach, which I still can't believe they fired Michael Malone. Yeah, fire the guy that got you an NBA championship. Go figure. Sounds like the Lakers with Frank Vogel, but I digress. Anyway, now we move on to the playoff matchups. Lakers are the 3 seed. They take on the T-Wolves. Clippers are the 4 seed. They've got Denver. Now, the difference between the Lakers and the Clippers is that the Clippers don't have home court advantage, but with the way that the Clippers are playing, they actually could knock off the Nuggets. The Nuggets, they're not as good as they were in years past. And with the way the Clippers are playing, with Kawhi Leonard playing so great, with James Harden looking like prime James Harden, with Ivica Zubac just crashing the boards and pretty much swindling the Lakers from that trade, I could see the Clippers beating the Nuggets. I know Nikola Jokic is great. I know Russell Westbrook kind of wants a little revenge against the Clippers just because last year just did not turn out Russell Westbrook's way. But I could see the Clippers winning this one. I could see Clippers in 6 or 7. I mean, for me, I feel the Clippers in 6 sounds better just because Clippers would win it on their home floor at Intuit Dome. And that would be big, winning a playoff series or clinching a playoff series on your home floor. So I really want to see the Clippers continue their strong gameplay. For the Lakers, they've got the Timberwolves. And look, the Timberwolves, even though their seeding and their record doesn't indicate it, they're still a good team. They've got Anthony Edwards and a bunch of other talented studs on that team. I think this is going to be and the last time these two teams played in a playoff series was 2004 when the Lakers and T-Wolves managed to play one another into the second round, the divisional round, the second round, which the Lakers were able to take care of Kevin Garnett and said Timberwolves team, which eventually they wound up beating the Spurs in 6, and then they eventually wound up losing to the Pistons, which anyway, better times now are ahead for the Lakers. Now, my fear for the Lakers is this. The moment gets so big for them and the moment gets too bright for them and it kind of winds up backfiring against them. I mean, this could work out for them or against them because they've got so much star talent and they've got all sorts of they've got a good system going. I mean, again, throw away the 82nd game, and the Lakers they've been solid. I mean, losing Anthony Davis, it sucks. But seeing the emergence of Luka Doncic he has his ups and downs. But I will say, Luka has definitely been a godsend. Thank you, Nico Harrison, for literally gifting us Luka Doncic. But honestly, for the Lakers, this is going to be a tough series. But I'm confident in the Lakers. It's just a matter of them showing up defensively because they can score whenever they want. They've got the offensive pieces and offensive firepower. But against a T-Wolves team that is just so darn good, I think they're going to need to play their A game because Minnesota is no joke. I think Minnesota is going to be a very tough task for them. And everyone's crowning the Lakers as champions, but this Timberwolves team is nothing to sneeze at as they've got a lot of talent on their team. They got Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, that's a former Laker, got Naz Reid. The list goes on and on when it comes to this team. And so it's not just Anthony Edwards, it's a bunch of other talented players as well. So I really think the Lakers are going to have their hands full with this one, but I think the Lakers could get the job done in either 6, if not 5. I think the Lakers in 5 sounds much better just because they would win on their home floor and they wouldn't have to go back to Minnesota to try to close out a dangerous T-Wolves team. But at the same time, I would rather see the Lakers get the job done in 5, get a little rest and see who they'll draw. If the Lakers were to advance to the Western Conference semis or round 2, they would draw the likes of either Golden State or Houston, which Warriors as of late, they look a little more scary than the Rockets, whereas I think the Rockets experience might be too much for them. And then for the Clippers, if they were to advance past the first round, they would draw either the Oklahoma City Thunder or whoever wins in the play-in bracket or the play-in tournament when it comes to the Mavs and the Grizzlies. So Yeah, that spot, the 8th spot hasn't been finalized, and the playoffs are tomorrow. Go figure. But yeah, that's basically the path for the Lakers. And I don't think everyone should be crowning the Lakers just yet, just because the West is so stacked. Heck, even the Clippers can make it out of the West. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. The way the Clippers are playing, they're going to they definitely have a shot at making it out the West. And there is the possibility, if the Grizzlies win, the Lakers have the worst points per game differential. They have a point differential of 1.2, which I think is pretty sad if you ask me. Yeah, so average point differential. So yeah, the Lakers' average point differential is 1.2, which is actually the lowest of any playoff team so far. But if Dallas wins, then the Lakers will no longer have the lowest average point differential. But for right now, well, in terms of the West, I said lowest playoff differential in terms of all the teams, but in terms of the West, the Lakers have the worst average playoff differential so far. But if the Mavs make it, then they'll snatch that title right under the Lakers' nose. And if the Grizzlies somehow lose, then we'll just laugh at the Grizzlies as well. But we can't. We're talking Lakers and Clippers here. But I'm really excited for the playoffs. I really look forward to seeing what the Lakers can do in a stacked Western Conference. And I really hope that they can get the job done. I mean, I wasn't expecting a championship this year, and then I saw the Luka Doncic trade, and I'm thinking the Lakers might actually pose a threat when it comes to the West. I mean, yes, they don't have the greatest big. I mean, Jackson Hayes is good, but I think Jackson Hayes is going to also be key. Like, the Lakers need all hands on deck when it comes to this playoff run. So stay healthy, Lakers. Stay consistent, Lakers, and don't screw this up. And same goes for the Clippers. Stay consistent, stay healthy. Kawhi Leonard healthy is kind of the thing that we've all been waiting for, because it seems like every year it's Kawhi Leonard gets hurt and then the Clippers season goes down. But now that Kawhi Leonard's healthy, it's just a whole other story for the Clippers. And they're just looking like the Clippers team that they did back in the bubble when they should have won that series against Denver, but didn't, because they were up 3-1 and they just had to play with their food now, didn't they? All right, but that's that for the NBA portion of this show. We'll be jumping back to this next week and whatnot, but let's talk a little bit of some NFL. So I was going to save this for pretty much the end of the show, but let's talk a little bit of some NFL. So the draft is in 4 days, and the Chargers and Rams are going to be soon to be on the clock, and I can't wait for what will happen between the Chargers and the Rams. So in terms of the Chargers' needs, so the Chargers are actually pretty solid at most of its positions, but they're in need of wide receiver, tight end, edge defender, safety, cornerback, interior offensive line. So those are the top ones. Now, I actually have the Chargers selecting Colston Loveland, but I've been getting some weird articles that have the Chargers selecting something else. I mean, Joe Ortiz actually wants to draft a running back, which it's either Amarion Hampton or it's going to be Ashton Genty. But that would imply that the Chargers are going to be trading up. If the Chargers trade up, then that just shows their aggressiveness to try to get Ashton Genty. Or they could also get Tyler Warren, which I think would be a fantastic selection. I think getting Tyler Warren would be huge for the Chargers, just because they need a tight end. They need an elite level tight end. They haven't had an elite level tight end since maybe Antonio Gates. I mean, they still had Hunter Henry, but then he had a few of those injuries, which really kept him out. And then eventually Hunter Henry decided to make the not great decision on going to the Patriots, and we goes from there. But yeah, Associated Press has the Chargers drafting a wide receiver and tight end, which, okay. I mean, it says wide receiver and tight end, so it doesn't imply if it's going to be in the first round, which, I mean, again, I want them to – Colston Loveland would be great. If they trade up and get Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, that works too. But if those two are taken off the board, heaven forbid, then the Chargers need to select probably a wide receiver. I mean, offensive line wouldn't be too bad. I mean, got to protect your quarterback. But at the same time, Justin Herbert needs offensive weapons. So we shall see what the Chargers need offensively and what they need overall. But all in all, for the Chargers, I think they need to bolster their offensive weapons. Get Justin Herbert some help, unless you plan to like sign more via free agency, which I think that would be nice for the Chargers. But at the same time, it's like, who do they have the cap space and whatnot, and can they make room for these draft picks in the near future? So, all right, so according to Sports Illustrated, someone has the Chargers drafting Matthew Golden in the first round, which I'm okay with. Wide receiver, that's a good pick. And then someone in the same article, they have the Chargers drafting Harold Fanning Jr., tight end out of Bowling Green. Okay, if you're wondering who he is, let me enlighten you. He was actually the leading tight end receiving yards leader, or he led all tight ends in receiving yards, and I think in receptions. And he might have actually led the entirety of all of the receivers in receiving yards, which I think is pretty cool. So Harold Fanning, Harold Fannin Jr. would actually be a very good pick. Don't waste the first rounder on him. See if he is available in the second round, and then hopefully go from there. So this article is actually, the Sports Illustrated article is actually pretty smart. Because honestly, I would like nothing more than to see the Chargers draft Colston Loveland. But at the same time, Fannin is actually a very good prospect. Then in round 3, the Chargers will be drafting Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle out of Tennessee. Okay. Then in round 4, the Chargers would draft edge rusher Jordan Birch. Okay, cool. Then in round 5, Jake Majors, looks like center for the University of Texas. Then also in round 5, Bryce Anderson, safety out of A&M, and so on and so forth. So, you know who else I would like to see the Chargers draft is Cam Skattebo. If the Chargers can draft Cam Skattebo, then they have it made when it comes to their running back core. I mean, Gus Edwards. No, J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins was great. Gus Edwards, he was serviceable when J.K. Dobbins was hurt. But at the same time, it's like those guys are basically getting up there in age. So, well, and also Dobbins still has still had some injuries linger, and it really sucks because he almost reached 1,000 rushing yards. All I just needed was to plan a few more games, and then he would have gotten it. But unfortunately, the injury bug kind of reared its ugly head when it needed the least. So that's that for the Chargers. That's kind of on my wish list. Good wide receiver, good tight end. Maybe even make some trades to like get aggressive and like get more like second rounders or get a second first rounder. But that would be implying that the Chargers would have to be really aggressive. But we'll just have to wait and see. So now, as for the Rams, on the other hand, the Rams are actually, they kind of have some needs in terms of their team. So the Rams need a cornerback which is a key area to strengthen the defense. They haven't had a good they have Akilla Witherspoon, but he is a free agent, and I don't know if Akilla Witherspoon is going to be coming back to the Rams. Just because, don't get me wrong, I would love to see the Rams just re-sign Witherspoon, because he was actually the hero that the Rams needed in that Cardinals game toward the end of the season. At the same time, it's like, do they really want to keep bringing him back? Because he's kind of up there in age. I think he's like 30 years old. But all in all, I mean, I wouldn't mind having Akilla Witherspoon back. But honestly, he's getting up there in age. So he's a solid 30 years old. 30 years young, but I digress. All right, so cornerback would be a good need, especially getting young. Linebacker, obviously, would be another critical position for the Rams, just because losing out on Aaron Donald's retirement obviously stinks. Offensive line, that's kind of my big thing right there. I really think that the Rams need to boost their offensive line, just because Matthew Stafford isn't getting any younger, and the NFC is just stacked with talented teams that have really good defenses, like the Eagles. Like, they got to Matthew Stafford early and often in that divisional round game. You got the Lions that are still pretty much up there. And the Rams are going to be playing a first-place schedule, mind you, because they wound up winning the NFC West, and they'll be playing the likes of the Lions, the Eagles, the Bucs, and all sorts of really good teams. And the NFC West isn't anything to sneeze at either, at least to my knowledge. So, yeah, offensive tackle would be big. Edge rusher would, and then defensive tackle. Obviously they have Jared Verse, but getting someone right next to Jared Verse would be big. It would still mean that the Rams defense is still young, but they made such a gigantic leap following the retirement of Aaron Donald, which I think is pretty significant if you ask me. I think the Rams defense really shined, and everyone was saying, oh, the Rams defense isn't going to be as good without Aaron Donald. Well, the Rams defense guided the Rams to the NFC West title, guided the Rams to a playoff win over a talented Minnesota Vikings team, and almost guided them to the NFC Championship game against the eventual Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. So I don't want to hear anyone saying that the Rams defense isn't good without Aaron Donald. Yes, that's true, but it shows that the Rams defense can silence those heretics. So if it were up to me, I would want to see the Rams draft Jeffrey Simmons, the offensive tackle from Ohio State. I think he'd be so great for the Rams offensive line, just because he did such wonders for the Buckeyes in their national championship run. So I hope that the Rams can indeed draft him. They can draft him, or at least some good offensive linemen. At this point, they would have probably signed an offensive lineman in terms of free agency, kind of like how the Chargers did with Mekhi Becton. But I think for the Rams, they got to get younger, got to bring more fresh legs in for the offensive line. And because you never know when it comes to certain players that want to leave in free agency for the Rams and whatnot. So I actually haven't checked the chat room, which I shame on me. I feel bad. Larry B says, let's go, Teran. Thank you, Larry B. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, no. I screwed up. I accidentally shared my referral link. But my boy Marcus Lewis Great is in the chat room. He says, salute. Salute to you too, good sir. And then Jess, our new host for our soccer show, Scoreboards and not Scoreboards and Shenanigans, Shin Pads and Shenanigans. She says, have a great show. Thank you, Jess. I appreciate that. And then Big Mike, not again. Ugh. Yeah, in case you all don't know, I have to post this on my yeah, I'm trying to get to the entire chat room. I'm sorry to those that I haven't been able to show your comments. I don't hate you. I'm sorry. Don't think of it as I'm ignoring you. Think of it as I'm trying to get to them. It's like trying to get past fan mail and whatnot. It's like Jimmy Fallon trying to get his interviews and whatnot. But Big Mike says Colston Loveland to the Colts, great show, brother. And then he also says Warren better for the Colts. Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to post the comment on the screen, but to no avail. But yeah, Big Mike says that the Colts need tight end. Okay, big deal. The Chargers, I wouldn't mind anything the Chargers draft. Running back would be great. Wide receiver would be great, as long as they hit a home run on this draft. Because Justin Herbert needs the weapons, because the Chargers are in a stacked AFC, and some are actually starting to crown the Chargers as AFC West champions, which, slow your roll, everybody. Until the Chargers are the last one standing on top of the AFC West, they're not AFC West champions. And they actually still got to, get the correct key pieces for their team. But I digress, and and to close off the Rams side of things, they just need either defensive help or offensive line help, because they've got the weapons. They've got Kyron Williams. They've got Devontae Adams. They have Puka Nacua. Some have the Rams taking a tight end. There was an article that I saw that the Rams have a tight end, that they need a tight end. It's Rams Wire on MSN. Okay, let's just check this out, and then we'll go to a commercial break. So according to this, The Rams will be selecting Colston Loveland. Well, that's implying that the Chargers don't need Colston Loveland, which I think is pretty funny. So this Rams wire has the entire Rams draft in a nutshell. So they've got Colston Loveland in round 1, Ashton Gilliott, edge rusher from Louisville in round 3, as well as Barrett Carter, linebacker from Clemson, Q Robinson, linebacker and edge rusher from Alabama, and then they've got a running back from Auburn. They got Max Brosmer from Minnesota. All right, I'm clicking out of this article. Okay, you lost me at Max Brosmer. I mean, Jackson Dart obviously isn't going to be available by then, but I don't know. I mean, Brosmer doesn't sound enticing if you ask me, but I don't know. Maybe they know something that I don't. I'd rather the Rams draft Tyler Shuck, if you ask me, from Louisville / Auburn / Oregon / a lot of colleges that he went to, but that's just me. But that's going to do it for the NFL portion of the show. We're going to take ourselves a quick little commercial break. When we come back, we've got some MLS, NWSL, NHL, and MLB to discuss. So keep it locked here. You were listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IA Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Back with segment number 2 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IA Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out our amazing shows such as Chi-Town Weekly with Adam Karnick and New York State of Sports with Ricky K. But let's get back on into the SoCal sports action. So let's talk some MLS. So we talked football, now let's talk football. So, all right, it was kind of the tale of 3 teams when it came to the MLS. You got LAFC beating San Jose, which it's always great to beat the NorCal team. Sorry, Dre. The Galaxy wound up outlasting the Dynamo in terms of losing. but they tied. And then San Diego, unfortunately, lost to Colorado. So let's actually start off with the Galaxy one. All right, this one was rather an interesting match. So both these teams were pretty bad, if you ask me. Both these teams were tanking like, no, I'm just kidding. It's still pretty early, if you ask me. I was going to say tanking harder than Operation Desert Storm. But yeah, it's way too early to be tanking. But for this Galaxy-Houston Dynamo match, it was rather fascinating, if you ask me. So 14th minute, the Dynamo managed to score courtesy of Ezequiel Ponce. So suddenly the Galaxy was down 1-0. It was already looking bad for the Galaxy. It was looking a whole lot worse because 14 minutes after that goal, the Galaxy's Matthias Jorgensen managed to get a red card. So now the Galaxy are down a full player. So it's like, oh, this is not happening. It's like the Galaxy are down 1-0. It eventually became the halftime score. And thankfully they were not on the road. But I imagine Galaxy fans were irked as heck. But Galaxy were down 1-0 at halftime. And they were down a player. Thankfully, 12 minutes into the second half, the Galaxy got the equalizer courtesy of Diego Fagundes. And thankfully for the Galaxy, they were able to hold on and still keep that 1 point as they tied with Houston 1-1. So obviously being man down means you're not going to have the ball as much. So Houston had the ball almost 58% of the time, while the Galaxy had the ball a little over 42%. Galaxy only mustered up 2 shots on goal, while Houston mustered up 3. And obviously the red cards were in favor of the Galaxy. The Dynamo had 7 corner kicks, while the Galaxy had 5 corner kicks. So, yeah, it's pretty sad that the Galaxy it's come to this when it comes to the Galaxy. It really, 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 really sucks. It just frustrates me. And then Jess actually mentions hot news for you. LAFC head coach Steve I'm gonna probably butcher this name. Steve Cherundolo. Steve Cherundolo is stepping down at the end of the season. Oh, wow! This is breaking news. Thank you, Jess, the host of our soccer show, which will be debuting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Remember, shin pads and shenanigans. But that's big news right there. And this is breaking news. I don't even know what to do right now when it comes to this. But yeah, this is crazy if you ask me. But I guess that's a perfect segue to go into LAFC. So LAFC was the only SoCal team of the 3 to win this past week as they took down San Jose by a score of 2-1. Like I mentioned, it's always great to knock off the NorCal team. It's always great when the SoCal team knocks off the NorCal team. And yeah, it's wild if you ask me. And that's a good bounce back win following the loss to Miami in the CONCACAF. I still can't believe it had to be freaking against Messi. Of all the teams that were to happen, of all the teams to lose to, they had to lose to Inter Miami and whatnot. But at least the LFC bounced back nicely against San Jose. So in this matchup, LFC scoring didn't happen until the second half as it was 0-0 at halftime. And then into the 65th minute, LFC finally got on the board as Sergi Palencia managed to score the first goal of the game. So LAFC is now up 1-0. So good for LAFC. And then it got even better when Dennis Bouanga, 21 minutes after that said goal, managed to score for LAFC. So it was suddenly 2-0. And then came stoppage time. Stoppage time, I don't know what the officials were thinking, but 10 minutes were added in stoppage time. That's an eternity if you're an MLS fan. And for San Jose, 5 minutes into stoppage time, Christian Espinoza scored for the Quakes. So suddenly it's 2-1, and LAFC fans are on the edge of their seats. They're biting their fingernails. They're sucking their thumbs. They're starting to worry about their children. But thankfully for LAFC, they were able to hold on against San Jose, winning 2-1. And despite winning, LAFC did get outpossessed just a little, though, just like by a little small margin. And thankfully, there were not too many yellow cards, only one to San Jose, which is kind of interesting if you ask me, because normally when it comes to these two teams are kind of heated, unless it's like Galaxy and San Jose, but I digress in that regard. And Larry says, I hate the Galaxy. Yeah, I hate the Galaxy too. I can't believe how bad they have been. And oh, okay. I messed up. I said Inter Miami, but it's that's not the right one. It's LAFC versus Miami. So yeah, my bad. I said Inter Miami, and just regarding the news when it comes to LAFC skipper, she says that was such a crazy game, more drama than a Oh my God, more than a I know this word. Telenovela. I didn't flunk Spanish. I promise you. Telenovela. So, yeah, that was a pretty dramatic game, too. I mean, LAFC, Galaxy, they're kind of making me lose my lunch here. They're kind of making me worry. So, but thankfully, those teams got the win. And thankfully, for their sake, they were able to finally get back into the W column. Now for San Diego. All right, the new kid on the block. Unfortunately, San Diego kind of got a little bit of, I wouldn't say humblance, but they kind of got crashed down back to earth as the Colorado Rapids beat them on their home floor 3-2 or home field. The crazy thing is that San Diego outpossessed Colorado 62.4% to 37.6%, which just, you had the ball that long, but you still just couldn't put the ball in. Why? And it kind of didn't help that San Diego got off to, I wouldn't say a slow start, but they kind of didn't start scoring until the second half. As Colorado's, I am not even going to try to pronounce this name, Dehorde Mihajlovic. Dehorde Mihajlovic scored the first goal for Colorado. So 1-0 in favor of Colorado. And it's like, okay, this is bad. But it could have been worse. Could have been so much worse than what had happened. Because San Diego, 4 minutes into the second half, they scored courtesy of Luca De La Torre. So San Diego is on the board. It's 1-1. But then 4 minutes after that, a penalty kick courtesy of Darren Yapi was scored, and Colorado's up 2-1. And then if it got worse for San Diego, because then Colorado scored again, and now it's 3-1. So it's not looking too good for San Diego. They did get 1 goal courtesy of Tomas Angel, but it was just not enough for San Diego as they wound up falling on the road 2-1. And Colorado had more shots on goal. They had 8 shots on goal. It's hard to beat a team when you're getting outshot when it comes to a match. San Diego only had 4 shots on goal, which is unfortunate. Not a lot of yellow cards. And in terms of corner kicks, San Diego had 5 corner kicks, which it's just growing pains for San Diego. They're still a young team. They're still trying to figure it out. And they're still having a great start to the season because they're third in the Western Conference. Who would have guessed that an expansion team, being San Diego, would knock off not only the Galaxy, but LAFC as well, and they'd be third in the Western Conference to start the season, which I think is pretty darn good. So San Diego needs not hold its head in shame. It's just that you just gotta, and they were also on the road, so we could forgive them for losing 1 game on the road or 1 match on the road. So San Diego is back in action tomorrow when they play at Charlotte, which hopefully for their sake they can get back into the W column. I still think they're having a great and fantastic season. The Galaxy are back in action tomorrow as well when they hit the road to A-Town, Austin, to take on Austin, which should be a nice little fun matchup right there. Austin FC did beat LAFC. And speaking of said LAFC team, LAFC is back in action when they head to Portland to take on the Timbers. That'll be a later game, but let's see some dubs. Let's see some wins here. But before I close off the LAFC and MLS portion of the show, let's go over this a little bit of news here. LAFC coach Steve Cherundolo is slated to step down at the end of the season. So, he says in a statement, the San Diego native indicated that family considerations will see him and his family return to Germany, where he excelled as a player with Hannover 96. It was while with the club that he met his wife Mandy, and then their 2 children were born. And Cherundolo says it It is an honor to be the head coach of LAFC. After much reflection and discussion with my family, we have made the decision at the end of the year that we will return to Germany. So LAFC, you better send him off with at least some sort of like championship, whether it's a mid-season tournament championship or the MLS Cup. Send him off with something good. Like, don't send him off on a sour note with like missing the playoffs or just getting one and done or losing when you're supposed to win. Kind of like last year when, I don't know, you were the 1 seed, you lost to Seattle, then you got to see the Galaxy wind up winning the whole thing. That sort of thing. You got to win. You got to win for your head coach. So I hope that LAFC, the entire LAFC squad, gets spurred when it comes to that moment saying, we got to win for our coach and send him off with something good. So there you go right there. There you go. So yeah, Larry and Jess are kind of wondering, going back and forth in the chat room. I'm not going to really show it on screen. It just is, it's pretty funny if you ask me. So anyway, let's move on to some other soccer news or soccer in general. Let's move on to some NWSL. So in terms of NWSL, Angel City took down Houston 3-1. So that was good for LAFC and good for them. They actually started off the post-international break with a win. So in the NWSL, when it comes to as the league is expanding, I think it's great that Angel City pulled off a win on the road, mind you. And they're actually fourth in the NWSL standings. Yeah, there's no Western Conference and Eastern Conference. The crazy thing is that Angel City got doubled up in terms of possession, but Angel City was able to wind up pulling off the win. So 13 minutes in, Angel City got a goal, scored the first goal. So suddenly it's 1-0. And then 60 minutes after, Riley Tiernan scored at that point. So suddenly it's 2-0, which is the best thing for Angel City and the worst thing for Houston. Houston's first goal didn't come until the 61st minute. So Angel City was only up 1-0. But Angel City provided the insurance goal as Alyssa Thompson scored in the 86th minute. And the crazy thing is that Angel City did get outpossessed, but they had more shots on goal. They doubled the shots on goal for Houston, which I thought was pretty nice if you ask me. But Houston had 8 corner kicks compared to Angel City's 2. But at least Angel City got the win. That's all that matters. It's like nothing else really matters as long as they get the win and whatnot. So Angel City is back in action tonight when they host Gotham FC. So it's going to be very fun. It's going to be pretty cool to see this one just because Gotham is right below Angel City. So it's early in the season. I don't want to say this is for positioning in terms of the postseason, but this could be pretty big early on. Now, unfortunately for San Diego Wave FC, they weren't so fortunate in terms of winning as they wound up losing to the Kansas City Current 2-0 on its home turf, which, well, I would say, this is so frustrating, but this game was pretty much over by the first half, as even though San Diego outpossessed Kansas City is actually one of the better teams, if not the second best team in the NWSL, as they actually got the scoring going in the 16th minute, and then 9 minutes after they got a penalty kick from Leo Labonta via a penalty kick. So suddenly San Diego was down 2-0. And there's a reason why the KC Current has not lost a match and has not tied a match. They were perfect 3-0 going into this match. And San Diego, it wasn't a lack of effort. It was just a lack of, they were facing a team way better than them. So I imagine this was going to be an uphill climb for San Diego, and indeed it was. So a tough loss for San Diego. I wasn't thinking that one was going to be a win. A tie would have even been considered a win because that would have blemished the KC Current. But it is what it is. And San Diego is back in action tomorrow when they hit the road to Louisville to take on Racing Louisville FC, which they're not too far back of San Diego either. So as the league expands, there are more and more teams happening. There's the Utah Royals. There is Bay FC, Seattle Reign. Those are I wouldn't say the new teams, but the more current teams that were just recently added to the NWSL, which I think is pretty darn cool if you ask me. All right, but that is that for NWSL. So before we go into a commercial break, let's actually go over the Sparks' WNBA draft pick. So, all right, so I didn't even know the draft was last Monday until I was told of this by Ricky K on his show, New York State of Sports. So in terms of the draft, so the Sparks had 3 picks, and they actually, I don't think I've ever told you all this. Kelsey Plum was actually traded to the Sparks in exchange for one of the Sparks' draft picks, and the Sparks basically traded down to get Kelsey Plum, which I think is pretty cool if you ask me. But anyway, for the Sparks had the 9th pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, and the Sparks selected, you see it on screen, Sarah Ashley Barker. So, okay, that's good. She comes from Alabama, and she according to her pre-draft analysis, she drives to the rim where she is a good finisher. Her counter moves need more development, but her outside shooting has already progressed. Because, as we all know, the NBA and WNBA and basketball together is becoming more of a three-point shooting thing. So you have that right there. I only wish the Sparks could have drafted the Haley Van Lith. But she went to Chicago, and I guess the Sparks don't need a point guard. But they're lost if they somehow get on the outside looking in terms of the playoffs. So the second pick, not the second pick. Their second round draft pick was Sanaya Fegan. So she is a power forward. She hails from South Carolina. She has a 6'5" wingspan, and she has a basketball IQ made into a good prospect as a defender. Her offensive game began to show promise late this season, but value there will come as a screener and an offensive rebounder, which I think the Sparks need. They need some height and depth in terms of the low post. So they haven't really had that ever since, dare I say it, maybe Candace Parker or Lisa Leslie. But maybe I'm wrong. And then their last pick was actually Liatu King from Notre Dame. She's a small forward. Pre-draft analysis, her scoring opportunities took a hit in 1 year with the Irish, but King remained a relentless rebounder, and the experience of playing with her better teammates helped her preparation. King's game is strictly in the lane, which might be difficult for a 6-footer at this level. So post-draft analysis, after blossoming in 2023-24 at Pitt, King went to Notre Dame and learned to be a role player. Her willingness to attack the defensive glass will give her a chance to make the Sparks a better roster. Okay. All right. So even though the Sparks did not draft Haley Van Lith, which I would have liked for them to have drafted Haley Van Lith, because I will give the Sparks a B when it comes to this grade. I mean, I can't necessarily judge this all too much. I mean, they obviously boosted their roster. I think their roster should be good. I mean, they've got Cameron Brink that they return. I can't imagine I can't imagine the Sparks being worse than they were last year, because the last 2 years have been something to forget when it comes to the Sparks. It just really sucks, dude. I mean, it's very frustrating for the Sparks, but it's tough times, but hopefully those tough times will finally blow over. The Sparks actually don't kick off their season until, am I reading this right? They don't kick off their season until the 16th of May when they take on the Golden State Valkyries. Oh gosh, SoCal versus NorCal. Time for the Sparks to welcome the Valkyries to the WNBA Los Angeles style or SoCal style. Like, please do win that one. I can't imagine they lose that one. I mean, maybe, but I just don't want to see them lose. SoCal does not want to see us. We don't want to see the SoCal teams losing to the NorCal teams. But looking at the Sparks roster, I don't know if Cameron Brink will be back in time when it comes to the WNBA season, because remember, she did tear her ACL, which was not good, and obviously that's nothing to really play around with. But hopefully she will be back in time for the season. They've also got other players like Rakea Jackson, who I thought was pretty good if you asked me last year. Kelsey Plum, I thought, even though she's kind of up there in age, she is 30. I think she's going to definitely bring a lot more experience to this Sparks team. They got Diarca Hammy, who I thought really blossomed in terms of the Sparks roster last year. And they can only go up from here. I can assure you the Sparks should not be as bad as they were last year. I'm calling it right now. Sparks will not be as bad as last year's team. And maybe they can make the playoffs. Who am I to say? I don't know. But all I can tell you is that the Sparks will see improvement this year, and nothing can take that away from me. Period. All right, but that's that for the WNBA portion of the show. I haven't talked WNBA in a hot minute, so I might as well just have talked about that just because the WNBA draft is a big thing. That was kind of the headlining thing, the kind of headliner on Monday for SoCal Sports. That was the headliner, as there wasn't any NBA on and so on and so forth. So that's that right there in terms of the WNBA portion of the show. We're going to take one last commercial break. When we come back, we've got some NHL, we've got some MLB, and we got the Dum Dum of the Week. So keep it locked here. You were listening to the SoCal Spring Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr., and I'm welcoming you to take another lap with the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. Yes, this is the Extra Mile with me and my co-hosts Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward. We talk everything racing from NASCAR to IndyCar to Formula One to limited hydroplanes, endurance racing, the NHRA, and more. So come join us for an hour of great racing talk and a lot of fun as well on the Extra Mile, Thursdays at 8 p.m. only on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Mike from Indie Sports Nation. Come hang out with me each and every Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, where we talk things Indiana sports. We talk Colts, Pacers, Fever, Indy Ignite, and we dive into the college scene as well. Boilermakers, Hoosiers, Irish, Bulldogs, and every school in between. And we don't stop there. We'll sprinkle in some NHRA and cover the IndyCar series. From the turf to the hardwood to the track, we got you covered. Come hang out with your boy, Big Mike, each and every Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Indie Sports Nation, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we are back with the final segment of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. The Indie Sports Nation will actually be on pretty soon, in about 50 minutes or so. But let's go over some more SoCal sports to close off the show. So we'll talk some NHL with the Kings and the Ducks. So the Ducks have pretty much seen their season come to an end. They wound up ending the streak. They wound up ending the season on a 4-game losing streak, which I don't know why the Ducks just can't seem to have consistency in terms of a great season or making the playoffs. I mean, they saw improvement. They actually did improve their point total from last year by 20, but still no playoffs. Another year of Trevor Zegras wasted. It just sucks, dude, just because the Ducks. Look, I grew up liking the Anaheim Ducks, obviously the mighty Ducks and whatnot. But now they've just become a joke and a laughing stock, which really sucks. Meanwhile, the other SoCal team, the LA Kings, they actually are in the postseason. as they actually finished second in the Pacific Division, which is pretty good if you ask me. They did lose to the Calgary Flames, but honestly, that was kind of a throwaway win. I don't think they wouldn't have benefited, and they wouldn't have been worse off. So all in all, for the Kings, they are in the postseason. They're in the big dance, and they have the honor of playing. Can we get a drum roll, please? The opponent for the LA Kings in the first round of the NHL playoffs is none other than the Edmonton Oilers. The worst case scenario for the Kings. They really drew the Edmonton Oilers again. Death, taxes, and the Kings once again playing Edmonton in the postseason. So the good news is for the Kings is that they have home ice advantage. The bad news is this is the Edmonton Oilers we're talking about. This is the team that has eliminated the Kings not once, not twice, but 3 times in the past 3 seasons. I really hope the 4th time is the charm for the Kings. I really just hope so. But my fear is that last year I think the Kings lost to the Oilers in 5. The previous year, they lost to them in 6, and then the previous year, they lost to the Oilers in 7. So I'm fearing that this year, Edmonton's going to sweep the Kings. And my thing is about the Kings is that they're a good team. It's just that Edmonton always seems to find their number come playoff time, and it really sucks. But hopefully the Kings can actually rewrite some new history. And according to Mark Messier of ESPN, he says the Kings are going to be a problem for the Oilers. Well, the Kings, if they can get past the Oilers, then they draw the Vegas Golden Knights most likely, unless the Minnesota Wild upend them. But I mean, I wouldn't say the Kings healthy, they could do some damage. The Kings unhealthy, I think will be a problem. I mean, Edmonton, I just don't know what it is when it comes to Edmonton and whatnot. But I really think the Kings definitely have what it takes to win. I mean, this year the Kings finished second in the Pacific Division, which is no laughing matter. I mean, you've got Adrian Kempe, who I thought has been doing great. Anze Kopitar is still doing amazing for the Kings. So and you've got Kevin Fiala and then Quentin Byfield. So I think for the Kings, they have a good chance at winning this series. But if they play like they have done in years past, if they get overconfident, if their heads get too big for themselves, if they go on a nasty losing streak, then this could get a little ugly for the Kings. But the Kings are one of the better home teams. Like, I can't imagine the Kings losing to the Oilers for a 4th straight year, or seeing the Oilers end the Kings season for the 4th straight year. I just can't see that happening. I'd be flabbergasted if the Kings just had that happen to them. I just don't really want it. So Larry B says, loving the show. Well, thank you, Larry. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do and whatnot. And Larry was just talking about talking about San Diego and whatnot, and Jess was also correcting me on my pronunciation. Yeah, I'm pretty bad when it comes to these pronunciations. Don't judge me. I'm special, but I digress. Anyway, so Kings. If I had to guess the Kings in this series against Edmonton, I'm going to say Kings in 7. I'm going to say it right now. The Kings finally break through against Edmonton. I don't care what it takes. I don't care who is on that ice. I want to see the Kings actually get past Edmonton. This is ridiculous. It's like if Mark Messier thinks that the Kings are going to be a problem for the Oilers, then this time around the Kings are going to be playing with fire. They should be motivated. Like, every year that they've lost to the Oilers, if I kept losing to a team or someone and seeing my season come to an end to the same team over and over again, I would be so fuming. I would want to play angry. Well, not too angry, or just play to the point where I'm thinking, I do not want my season coming to an end to this team for the, 4th straight year. I just really cannot see that happening. So please, 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 Kings, do not lose. And don't turn me into a liar, because I'm really confident that this Kings team can make it out of the first round. And I know Edmonton is a matchup problem, but this year I think can be different. But only time will tell, because the NHL playoffs are a whole different beast. And playoffs in general are a whole different beast. Anyway, before the Kings lost to the Calgary Flames in that little mini throwaway game, they managed to take down said Oilers team 5-0. That's it. That's the type of Kings team we need against Edmonton. If the Kings can play like that against Edmonton, they've got it made. I really think that the Kings can do it, because beating Edmonton 5-0 is no easy feat. It's no laughing matter, and so on and so forth. So all in all, for the Kings, I think they can do it, but it's all a matter of applying it, because I want to see the regular season thing. So they beat the Oilers most recently. They also took down the Oilers 9 days before that. So that's 2 wins over Edmonton, which, okay. And then they lost to Edmonton 1-0 on January 13th, okay. And then they won 4-3 in overtime on December 28th. That is good. And yeah, so 3 out of 4 wins, that's pretty good. But this is the regular season we're talking about. Nothing matters in the regular season. It's now postseason time. I really want to see the Kings just go at the Edmonton Oilers, and I want them to actually play angry and play motivated. Win it for last year's team and the previous year's team and the previous year's teams after that. Yeah. All right, but that's going to do it for the Kings portion of the show, the LA Kings portion of the show. Now let's jump to some MLB. All right, so MLB time, and then we can go over Dumb of the Week, and then we can send you all on your way. So in terms of the Dodgers, all right, the Dodgers kind of had a little bit of a meh series against the Cubs, as they won the first game on Friday 3-0, so it looked good. And then on Freddie Freeman bobblehead night, the Dodgers picked the worst day to play maybe their worst game in history, as they lost at home 16-0. 16-0. They lost by a football score of 16-0. What? Was this another bullpen game from the Dodgers? Because that's sad, dude. And then they lost to the Cubs on Sunday in the rubber match 4-2. So, all right, well, I'll give the Cubs this. Considering how many times the Cubs lost to the Dodgers prior, then they lost twice in the whole Japan series, and then they lost that first time. We could allow the Cubs to get a little bone. Now throw your freaking parade just because you beat the Dodgers. What? I have the right to be salty. Anyway, so the Dodgers, after they lost 2 of 3 to the Cubs, they actually swept the Colorado Rockies, which they won 5-3 on Monday. They won on Tuesday 6-2, and then they edged out the Rockies 8-7, which, let's be honest, Colorado stinks. There's no better way of saying it. The Colorado Rockies are complete cheats. The Dodgers probably could have put out their AAA team, and they still would have won. And that's no disrespect to Colorado. Actually, it is a disrespect to Colorado, because they are so bad. They are 11.5 games behind Arizona in the NL West. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Anyway, moving on from the Dodgers, let's move on to some Padres. So the Padres had a little bit more success than the Dodgers. Just like the Dodgers from the past 3 days, or past 4 days, the Padres swept the Colorado Rockies 8-0, 2-0, and 6-0. And then the past 3 days, and then their previous series against the Cubs, they took down the Cubs in the first match 10-4. They lost in 10 innings to the Cubs 2-1, which was such an unfortunate loss right there. I really would have liked to have seen the Padres win that one, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be, just because, well, I guess you can't just win them. You can't win them all, and I guess the Cubs must have sacrificed someone. They must have sacrificed Steve Bartman to the baseball gods in order to win that game. Also, it doesn't help that the Padres only had a whopping 5 hits, where the Cubs doubled them in that category. So, Yeah, it sucks, but at least the Padres wound up winning the rubber match 4-2. So just like that, the Padres have won 6 out of their last 7, which I think is pretty good, but they've kind of got a little bit of a tough road series. Now for the Angels. Okay, the Angels, I hate to have to tell everyone this, but the Angels have come back down to earth following their fast start. So in case you all have been living under a rock, the Angels were off to maybe one of the better starts in their team's history in recent years. Because let's all be honest, the Angels are a dumpster fire. You got to sell the team, Art Moreno. But they had just taken down the Tampa Bay Rays to have won their 4th series. Now they were to take on, they had the Texas 2-step with the Houston Astros, and the Texas Rangers. Unfortunately, both series went south for the Angels as they got belted in the first series against Houston, or the first game of the series against Houston, 14-3. But they did bounce back and they won the second game on Saturday, 4-1. And then the rubber match, the Angels finally lost their first series of the season, losing by a score of 7-3, which makes me sad face. And then they got swept by the Texas Rangers. God, I hope my brother didn't see that in person. As the first game, the Angels lost 4-0. Second game, the Angels lost 3-1. And then the final game, the Angels lost 5-3, which I thought the Angels had their opportunities to try to win this game. Why did the Angels have to lose? They actually, they were down 4-1 at one point, got to within 1 run, and then Texas just had other plans. And sadly, the Angels only mustered up 5 hits, which does not make matters any better. So Angels went from first place in the AL West to now 3rd place just because they're losing, and then the Seattle Mariners are starting to win, which is unfortunate. Angels fans don't want to see that. So the Angels are back in action against the San Francisco Giants. They at least have the luxury of being at home, and then they've also got the Pittsburgh Pirates later on in the week, next week. So the Giants series, look, this is kind of personal for Angels fans just because, well, the Giants were the team that lost to the Angels in the 2002 World Series when the Angels were fun to watch and the Angels made Angels fans happy, and they didn't have the whole Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim thing. They were just known as the Anaheim Angels, which definitely rolls off the tongue better. So yeah, at least win the Giant series, Angels. Just please don't disappoint me. I mean, I as an Angels fan am so heartbroken. I mean, I like all the SoCal teams in terms of the MLB, mainly the Dodgers and the Angels. But I grew up liking the Angels, and then the Angels just start making me more sad by the day because Art Moreno is a dumb owner and whatnot. So there you have it. But to the Dodgers, they will be back in action tonight when they have a 3-game series against the Texas Rangers, and then they've got a 2-game series against the Chicago Cubs. So, man. Oh, what's worse is, actually, I'll explain that later for the Angels. But yeah, they've got the Cubs again. So what is it with the Cubs wanting to? Who made the schedule for the Dodgers? Why do we guys see the Cubs over and over and over and over and over again? And then for the Padres, they are back in action when they hit the road to H-Town to take on the Houston Astros. And then they've got the Detroit Tigers Monday through Wednesday on the road, mind you. So I'm hoping for the Padres' sake they can continue their hot start. I think it's great that they're putting the entire National League on notice, and it's not just the Dodgers flexing their muscles. I think if the Padres play their cards right, because the Astros have not been great this season to start, I think maybe they could be the first team to 20 wins. I think with how the Padres are playing, I think they will be the first to 20 wins. Guarantee it. Hopefully. Now I say that, and I haven't looked at the standings, but watch that not be in the favor of. The Padres and Dodgers are in first, have the best 2 records in the league, and then San Francisco, they have the 3rd best record. So I'm still gonna keep it as is. The Padres are going to be the first team to cross 20 wins first. But you don't get some sort of special award when it comes to that. So I digress. All right, but that's going to do it for the MLB portion of the show. Now we got to go over the Dum Dum of the Week. So Dum Dum of the Week basically is is basically an award I like to give out to a person or an organization when it comes to doing or saying something dumb. No one is safe from this award. I mean, I kind of got to give myself dumb of the week for not being able to pronounce some of these names correctly, as Jess was kind of correcting me in the chat room. So I got to brush up on my soccer name pronunciation skills a little more. So I'll give myself mini dumb of the week, but I promise I'll cook next week. All right, but dumb of the week for the first one. Okay, so this kind of happened. I kind of can't say this is a dumb thing, but it's like, who made this rule? So yesterday when I went to the UC Irvine men's volleyball match against CSUN or Cal State Northridge, I had to check my bag in, and apparently the security has implemented a new rule, or a previous rule, saying that you can't bring outside drinks in, which I think is pretty bad. So, okay, the rule doesn't irk me, but the previous week there was no rule when it came to stating that. You are okay with bringing outside drinks in as long as you're media. But it's like, why implement the change right now? This is the last home match of the season for UC Irvine, and now you're implementing a change. Why can't you just make the change next year? Are they planning to make the change going into next year? Like, now I'm kind of concerned on if I should bring liquids to the Long Beach State match, but I don't know. But whoever made that decision of implementing that outside liquids for media can't be brought in, it shouldn't be allowed on that particular week, kind of is a little bit of a dumb decision. I'm not saying that the decision is dumb altogether. I think it's a respectable rule. I just think it should have been implemented during the start of the 2025 calendar year. Then I can understand that being a rule that we should abide by. But this late of the men's volleyball season, I think that's a little questionable if you ask me. So I can't really say it's someone's getting dumb of the week. And bless the security guard. I asked her, is this a new rule? And she said, no, this was a previous rule, but then it just got reinstated. It's like, okay. So the guy in front of me, he kind of was a little miffed at that, but I kind of told him, the security guard told me that the rule was reinstated this week as opposed to last week where it wasn't reinstated. So I can't necessarily give dumb of the week to anyone, but it's like, why would you want to implement a rule this late of the year when the men's volleyball season is just about over? So I had to wait, and I had to dump a lot of water. So this little travel mug here, it was filled right up to here. So I imagine I had to get rid of maybe 40 plus ounces of water. I dumped it onto the grass, so at the very least, it's okay. But that was a little frustrating right there. I'd say that's kind of a hair-pulling moment of the week right there for me. But I get it. Rules are rules, and you never know with people. All right, but for the actual dumb of the week, I got to give it to the Colorado Rockies just because they not only stink, they not only got swept by the SoCal teams, being the Padres and the Dodgers, they failed to score one run against the San Diego Padres. And more importantly, Ricky K on the bullpen bulletin said, and I quote, the Rockies are so bad, they're giving the 2024 Chicago White Sox a run for their money. That's when you know the Colorado Rockies are bad. It's so sad when you're even getting comparisons to that. And you have the worst record in the league. You're even worse than the Chicago White Sox. So Colorado Rockies, for not scoring one run against the Padres, for getting swept by the Dodgers and swept by the Padres, and just being absolute dog water. I don't need to put down the Colorado Rockies. I know they're trying, but man, that's just bad, dude. It's so laughable. They're the only team in the NL West that's not above 500. When you think of the NL West, you're thinking of Padres and Dodgers, maybe the Giants because they're past history, and then the Diamondbacks, which are on the rise. But the Rockies are the black sheep of the NL West. I'm sorry to say, but they just straight up are bad, dude. It's sad, and I can't justify it. So Rockies kind of get dumb of the week. I know they're trying, but honestly, when you're even saying that you're giving the 2024 Chicago White Sox a run for their money, that speaks a lot to your organization. So there you have it right there. That's that for the Dumb of the Week. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. And Larry B said it best. It's a long season. Yeah, it's a long season. And I think he meant that for like the Angels and for the Dodgers and the Padres. But yeah, the MLB season is a marathon and not a sprint. Not like a few years ago. But I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you to Larry B. Thank you to Jess and Marcus Losgreat. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. It really means a lot. I really do appreciate y'all. If you listen on the playback, I appreciate you. If you listen live, I appreciate you. If you listen at any time, any place, anywhere, on a train, on a plane, in a car, very far, here or there, anywhere, with green eggs and ham with Sam I Am, I appreciate you. I will be back on Monday for Set Point, and I'll be back tomorrow for 3 and Out, the pre-draft edition with Larry B. and Mike Pat. Have yourself an amazing weekend. Be safe, be well. Enjoy the SoCal sports action. Enjoy the Lakers and Clippers when it comes to the postseason. And I will see you next time. Have a great weekend. And remember, SoCal is for SoCal. Peace.